Hey, what's up everybody? It's Isaac back again with another video. Today I want to share about how God answers our prayers and He gives us more than what we ask for when we wait on Him. And I want to go back a couple of years from the beginning of my walk. After around 1-2 years, I started to pray to God a lot to provide me or give me, or better said, to unite me with a person that knew a lot about God, a father, a spiritual father that I could look up to, and he could disciple me. A man, specifically asked for a man that was a father and had family, because that has been, it still is, one of the biggest desires of my heart, is to become a father and have a family to lead and protect them and provide for them. Growing up and being in the world, I always saw that the world was basically going towards the other side, where people just want to be liberal and not have families. And it actually was pretty rare that somebody gets married and stays together growing up. There's very few people that I've seen that are older than me that have stuck together for their whole life. So that was something I felt in my heart that I wanted to have, and I wanted to make right decisions in my walk with God, and to eventually also be a father and a leader of my home. So I was specifically asking God for that. And I remember there were people passing my path that I, in the beginning, was like, oh, maybe this man could be my discipler. Maybe this man is a great example as a father. And unfortunately, I don't say that in a bad way, but very fast, very easy, many of these people that I love, they didn't have what I was searching for. What I was searching for was somebody that I actually could look up to, and actually took their responsibility to also disciple me and also believe in me. Whatever giftings that God had put inside of me that maybe I couldn't see myself, I felt like, man, I need somebody to raise me spiritually and to guide me and let me know things that I don't see from the outside, that I'm gifted in, or there's potential to grow in spiritually. So the years passed by, and I remember I used to pray almost every night, like, God, I need this man, this father, this spiritual father, because I cannot do this on my own. And I felt very alone during my first years, because I felt like God was my discipler, which is beautiful, but I was also in a point where I needed someone in person. So I remember it passed I think it passed like 2 years praying that prayer, and I said to God, you know what, God, forget about it. I'm leaving this. I'm not gonna pray more about this. I guess it's you and me. And I trusted God, honestly. I was like, you've been speaking to me in many ways, so I fully trust that you're gonna speak audible, through dreams, through people, through whatever way is needed for me to be discipled directly by you. That's what I felt, and I left it in God's hands. And the thing is that God had already prepared, or had already a plan for me to meet Pastor Ralph, which is my pastor today, and my spiritual father and my discipler and my brother. And Pastor was not living here at that time. He was in the States, in California, and they were planning to come right before COVID, but unfortunately COVID stopped them and they had to wait. And during this time, I was getting prepared in other areas of my heart, in my walk, a lot of healing. But I thought that God was not hearing my prayer. And eventually I met Pastor Ralph through a friend, my roommate, who was a missionary leader for the Christian surfers. And he told me, I met this pastor, he's from California, he's from the streets, and he works a lot with outreaching people in the streets, just as you've been feeling to be called. And I took a coffee with Pastor Ralph and Marty, and from there I started working with them, going to the streets, and eventually with time I joined the church. God spoke to me in a dream to leave the mission where I was, YWAM, to join Praise Chapel full time. And during this time, I remember I didn't have no place to live. the first time I took care of Cola, Pastor's dog. Pastor was in the States, and I was planning to go to my mom for a month when he came back because I didn't have no place to stay. And I said, okay, God, I actually trust you that you would provide a home. And right when they came back, Alicia and Marty, which is the family that I live with today, they live next door to Pastor Ralph, and they all said, we feel from God that we want to offer you to stay here with us. There is a room free. And I was like, oh wow, God answers in the last minute, and he gave me more than I could ever ask for. I'm basically living next door to my pastor, to my spiritual father, my discipler, and I've been living there for 1.5 years, and it's been the best discipling time I ever had in my life. I just go to him with everything, maybe ask a lot of questions, but he's really been teaching me so much, and seeing him being a father to his kids and his work ethics, and also how he is to just people in general, and how he runs the church, the dedication and the sensitivity he has to hear God's voice has just been better than I ever could imagine during the time when I didn't know Pastor Ralph. So that's definitely more than I ever could ask for. I'd never expected myself to live with my pastor, but I also learned the value of truly being discipled in a relationship where you actually give life for life, which he's teaching me to do with the people that I will disciple in the future and already are starting discipling. So that's one of the answered prayers. But not only that, because in the same miracle for me, I moved in with Marty and Alicia, and just a couple of months, maybe 6 months before I moved in with them, I was finishing my first solo album, and I was very, very, very tired of working on my solo album because I was producing, mixing the greater part of the album by myself and recording my raps, my songs, and I was learning all of these things for the first time during the process of making this album. So it was a lot of work. There was a lot of obstacles in the way, and I just felt like, man, I'm sitting so many hours just by myself, producing by myself. Sometimes I meet other people, but when it comes to the mixing and the engineering part, I was actually feeling heavy in my spirit. I just told God, I don't want to make music by myself anymore. You called me to do this, but if you want me to continue making music, you need to put me to work with somebody, to start a group or a great friend that's down to make music all the time. I'm not doing this anymore by myself. I'm not. That's one period what I told God. And look, I live with Marty. We have a group called The Last Call. We live together. and Alicia is also a musician. So I live with 2 musicians, and God has opened a door for us to make music. And now I also am joining the worship team. So that's definitely more than I could ask for, more than I ever imagined. I didn't imagine living with a close friend, a brother, and make music with my roommate. So those are things that I often look back to, and I remind myself when I'm still waiting on other prayers to be answered. I remind myself, man, when you wait on God, maybe test you to the last second, wait to the last second to test your faith, but He actually gives you more than what we can ask for. As long as we love Him, we are faithful to Him, and we keep our eyes on Him, and we keep walking forward no matter what comes in the way. So I encourage you, whatever prayers and desires you have in your heart, that you lift them up to God and thank Him beforehand. I didn't do that with these prayers, but God has shown me that He's very faithful with things that are aligned with Him. So I'm also thanking for my other petitions beforehand, because I know He will give me more than I ever could ask for. So Jesus loves you all, and He's a great Father, and just trust Him, all right? Don't follow me, follow Jesus.